Hey, let's take a break from bronies making complete asses of themselves to talk about cartoon producers making complete asses of themselves. And so continues Tangled's nosedive into Kylo Ren's pit of edgy. Like I said regarding Queen for a Day, Varian's entire arc is the worst thing about Tangled, and there's currently no letting up. Judging by the rest of the trajectory for the season, it doesn't look like it'll be ending anytime soon either. The quest for Varian is little more than set up for the season finale, implying that there's an equal moonflower to Rapunzel's sunflower, destroying the tower because stakes, and giving a callback to the line, let down your hair. I bet the writers were totally pleased with themselves when they wrote that line. That's the problem with the quest for Varian, it's all set up and no payoff. It's exactly what filler looks like because we're jogging in place until the finale. Speaking of filler, some people derided Secrets and Pies as filler. People who forget that Friendship is Magic is not a serialized show with an overarching plot. Yet. Secrets and Pies is one of the better episodes of Season 7 because it junks all the lore into a bin to get back to what made Friendship is Magic fun. Interpersonal relationship conflicts between complete morons. Also, the episode is a goldmine for oral sex jokes. What you think of this episode will ultimately depend on what you want out of Friendship is Magic. If you want the show to be good, Secrets and Pies is a prime example of doing exactly that. If you want the show to have heavy continuity and lore to suck you off for memorizing the wiki, then you're gonna hate Secrets and Pies. And also, you're everything wrong with modern cartoons in this decade. I've talked about Friendship is Magic's recent nosedive into lore and continuity to get cheers from bronies at the expense of the real audience, children, and the brony fandom is the key to all of Hasbro's issues. They've never really gotten over the fact that right-wing news pundits used to make them their paranoia factory of the week, and they have been since demanding that My Little Pony have a more complicated plot and mature tone so that they can watch it and not feel like pedophiles for doing so. But said bronies score a massive home goal because by demanding that My Little Pony scrub away the things that make it fun for children, you're validating the delusional nonsense that enjoying something that's fun instead of something that's needlessly mature in massive air quotes is something to be ashamed of. Will you guys just get over yourselves and stop trying to ruin everything?
I stand alone inside I stand alone, feeling your sting down inside me. I'm not dying for it.
This episode is fucking gross.
Oh, fuck me, this was so terrible!
I've talked at length already about Tangled's dive into your number came up levels of edgy, so I'll spare you my usual complaints and stick to Varian himself, considering he's the entire focus of the episode. The problem with Varian is that he's painted as some kind of tragic villain who's been betrayed by those close to him, but that tragedy is entirely of his own doing. His father is trapped in his own alchemical amber, which only exists because he kept fucking with the black rocks, despite explicitly being told to stop touching them time and time and time again. And his insistence on touching them is born less out of a genuine desire to help Corona and more out of a desire to prove his father that he's right. But he's not. He then follows this up by stupidly demanding that Rapunzel drop everything in a crisis situation to help get his father out with no clear plan on how exactly he's going to do that, and at this point nobody really knows if Rapunzel can even help him. And after this one attempt to get Rapunzel's help at the worst possible time, he never once goes back to try again, but he's just a little too eager to start whining about how everyone's turned their back on him and scapegoating everyone he possibly can, while never once acknowledging his sole and direct involvement in his father's imprisonment. This comes around to the core of the problem in that they chose Varian of all people to become a villain. Varian worked as a supporting character because he had this earnest and endearing quality to him. Namely, he's thick as a fucking board. Varian's big passion is alchemy and engineering, but he's terrible at both of those things, and his big solution is to work harder rather than smarter. His work is dangerous, prone to destruction, and he takes little to no safety precautions. He's the Dunning-Kruger effect congealed into an entire person. Now, as a dopey kid trying to impress the gayest woman in the world, that's a great vessel for comedy. You try taking that seriously and making a tragic villain out of it, you have to contend with the fact that Varian is an idiot who won't listen to anybody. And sure, stubbornness and blind faith can be interesting character flaws. It's the reason I really like Twilight trying to steal the pearl, but you can't build a woe is me, I'm so alone, my name is not important villain on that. One bad decision that moves the story forward, that's cool. An entire cock-up cascade is not. But it's gonna be taken that way anyway by the profoundly thick people who will look at this man tearing his own life to pieces for nothing and thinking that's tragic. No, it is not tragic. If you've been told repeatedly to stop touching things and your insistent refusal to listen to that basic instruction ends up destroying destroying your life, that is not tragic, that is how the world should be. Varian deserves to lose his father, he deserves to rot in prison, and he deserves to never get any regard from his former friends ever again. He tried to murder the queen and Rapunzel's closest handmaiden. Eugene faced the threat of the hangman's noose for a hell of a lot less than that. If this brat gets a fucking redemption, I'm gonna fucking smack someone. So Star is having grief-induced hallucinations as a result of losing Glossaryck, so oh wait, no she's not. Never mind everyone, false alarm. I've talked about how Star vs. the Forces of Evil takes itself way too seriously now, but this episode had the potential to be one of those genuinely heartwarming moments of taking yourself seriously rather than just cranking up the grimdark. But apparently Miss Nefsy thought otherwise. I guess the potential mystery of how Glossaryck came back was more important to her. Papiliodia is, well, it's another one. Honestly, after all the fury I just dropped on Secret of the Sun Drop, just a dopey half mystery about making butterflies hatch is practically a godsend. There isn't really much to say, honestly. Akko goes to class, Fluttershy fucks with her hair, a tree is dying, Bacon Hair tries to fix the tree, ends up growing bugs, tries to kill the bugs, Akko stops her, makes the bugs pretty. I don't know if the revelation that Professor Trelawney here is clearly the same witch that made Akko want to go to Hogwarts is supposed to be a secret, but if it is, the show is really bad at hiding it. I'm not really in the right frame of mind to critique Little Witch Academia with any sincerity because I'm in that same loop I was in when Tangled appeared, being so happy to have something that's trying to be fun without shoving its head up its own ass in the process. I mean, it's trying. It's not exactly succeeding, but considering Japan's track record with animation, inoffensive is worthy of a fucking medal. Hell, considering Trigger's reputation with animation, I'm surprised Akko's kept her clothes on as long as she has. Yes, before you start up, I'm fully aware that Little Witch Academia goes up its own ass around 13 episodes in, but I knew that before I even put it on January's Patreon poll, so I accepted that going in, and I wouldn't be doing this at all if I didn't have a schedule to fill. Fluttershy's still cool though. It's alright. It's okay. It's a C-. Next. It's obvious to anybody with a pulse that Nefsy is shipping Starco like crazy, and at this point all they're doing is dragging out the inevitable. They're doing the really old school Disney thing where the relationship commencing is apparently supposed to be the series ending event, but stories about relationships are better than stories about relationships starting. You remember how Friends was beating around the bush with Ross and Rachel playing the will they won't they card? That was one of the first shows to ever do that, and it still fucking sucked. Meanwhile, Monica and Chandler had a fully realized relationship, even stretching to marriage, and then going on to demonstrate them being married for a full 2 seasons, and it was a lot more satisfying to watch because they went through multiple character arcs while Ross and Rachel only went through the one for the entire 10 seasons. Unfortunately, the will they won't they with the former pairing was the one more commonly remembered, and it's become a trope unto itself, and Nefsy is doing that here much like a lot of Disney shows have been doing. Hence why Riku here is being dragged out of the depths of hell so we can all pretend that he's interesting. Apparently some fans ship Tom with Marco, but then again, everyone gets shipped with Marco. I've heard some people compare the Boondocks to South Park, but the only similarity I can find is that both are primarily political humor shows, though South Park is predominantly right-wing while the Boondocks is predominantly left-wing, which also means that the Boondocks is funnier because conservatives and libertarians aren't bright enough to grasp what comedy is. That having been said, I don't think I will ever watch another episode of the Boondocks. It's not the social commentary that bothers me, that's spot on, I love it. It's not the overabundance of racial slurs, though admittedly that certainly doesn't help, and it's not the fact that Uncle Ruckus's song has been stuck in my head for a month now and I'm slowly going insane. No, this show made me look at an old man's penis, and for that I hope Aaron McGruder gets mauled by a badger. And with that mental picture, I'll leave you until next month.